Just when you thought they got it bad as they could with the firebombing of a synagogue, and they're pursuing the suspects, obviously, over that, there was another outbreak in Sydney, which I think has really, and in this case, cars were firebombed and houses were also damaged. And there has been this incredible... I think there's been a sort of collective awakening among Australians generally who didn't realise just how ferocious this was and just how virulent anti-Semitism is once it gets going. And I like to think that the Prime Minister has understood this. But here's a report from Sky News. Cars set on fire and buildings vandalised with anti-Semitic slurs in Woollahra as Sydney Jewish community attacked again. And I did read that some of those buildings were actually homes and residences. And how's this? There's another bit of graffiti in Sydney. We can pull it up. It says, quote unquote, Hitler was right. That's very interesting.
Who are we?
But this didn't seem to provide enough of a clue for lovely chap, Chris Taylor from ABC, who wasn't quite sure if these were anti-Semitic or not. I mean, from what I remember, Hitler thought things that were they were pretty anti-Jew, I think. My history's a little rusty, but I think Hitler was a bit of an anti-Semite. And so if he was right, maybe they're saying he was right about transport infrastructure. But anyway, this is Chris Taylor talking to Premier Chris Minns on the ABC about this.
Just on your wording in your statements this morning, what's your reasoning for branding the attack anti-Semitic and not anti-Israel? How do you make a distinction?
I mean, I think we would have to be willful at this point to turn a blind eye to that sequence of event and suggest it's anything other than an anti-Semitic attack. So
if you're calling it anti-Semitic rather than just a political anti-Israel statement, you've been in public life a long time. Would you say anti-Semitism is at an all-time high in your experience?
Yes, I would.
I swear to God, that pause is one of the greatest pieces of radio I have ever heard in my life.
It's just like, are you actually asking me this?
Yes.
Yes.
And yeah, Chris Taylor's a lovely bloke. It's anti-Semitic, by the way, not anti-Semitic. That's just semantics, though.
Oh,
and I'm an anti-semantic. But again, I do find it, and again, not have a go at Chris Taylor, who's a great bloke, but I think there are still some people who are actually struggling to understand that what they or people they talk to thought was just, anti-Zionism or anti-Israel is actually just anti-Jew. And I think the scales are coming down for a lot of people's eyes.
They're now working out that anti-Israel and anti-Semitic are not the same thing. I mean, for what happened in Woollahra...
It's an important distinction.
It is. For what happened in Woollahra to be anti-Israel, they had to assume Woollahra was playing a role in the war between Gaza and Israel. Woollahra is not playing a role. It's got nothing to do with that. The only reason they chose Woollahra is because there's a big Jewish population. Yes. In other words, it's not anti-Israel, it's anti-Jewish. It's Jewish hatred. It's hatred of the Jewish people.
That's right.
It's a vicious racism.